Hello, and you're very welcome to another edition of the JMAC podcast. I'm John Mann, and of course, this podcast is sponsored by orgaretro.com. Using promo code JMAC podcast to get 15% off on the website. And as you can see, Kevin sporting the lovely Antrim jersey in the background. And if you want any interest in that, use my discount code to get 15% off on it. And today we are here to talk about the weekend's action just gone in, review of it, and a preview of this weekend's action as well. So I'm joined by a good pal of mine, Kevin McGourty. So how's tricks there?
Oh, good, John. Just trying to keep up with the Mediterranean winter, Mediterranean summer, should I say, that we're having in these parts of the world. So even though COVID's been hard for us all, I suppose we're getting the Portuguese and the Spanish weather. So it's great for the staycationers.
Absolutely. And you were saying off air to me you're interested in some of my gear on my Instagram page. So much appreciated for the shout out.
Yeah, you need some of them shorts. Not them Dublin ones, but definitely not.
I get the Antrim shorts in for the weekend. And Kev, an intriguing weekend probably gone in, but unfortunately it wasn't intriguing. It was probably a mismatch in a lot of the games, and unfortunately Sligo were ripped to pieces by Mayo, Clare were ripped to pieces against Kerry, and obviously some tight games, but then Donegal made light work of Down. So we can go through the games, but before we jump into it all, Kevin, not a very inspiring weekend of action.
No, bar really the great intriguing encounter that was awfully live to listen to on RT Radio, then to follow the following on the Sunday game. All of the other encounters were very lopsided, really. So in terms of, okay, Wicklow Wexford was close enough game, but really when you look at the Clare result and Kerry result, when you look at the Mayo Sligo result, and then again in Ulster and the Down Donegal result, very much a gulf in class, unfortunately. And as I said to you off air, maybe last year we had the great fairy tale stories of Tipperary and Cavan. I think teams have now got wise to that. Once bitten, twice shy comes to mind. Teams have come in well prepped. Okay, there's going to be harder challenges for them down the line, but really over the next week, 2 weeks, coming into this week, maybe in the next week, we are going to see some more of them lopsided contests. It's not really till we get down to the last maybe 6, 7, 8 of the championship that we're going to see anything resembling something that we want to see as fans. So, that's just the unfortunate way it is. We have to adapt to COVID, but again, it sparks another debate really about the two-tier system.
Yeah, it definitely does. And I suppose we can crack into the action in the first game of the weekend. You had Sligo against Mayo, and as we were saying, Sligo suffered a cruel fate. And this one, Mayo 23, Sligo 12 points. So, Kev, where'd you start and where'd you finish with that one?
Well, first thing was Sligo going into the game had maybe a topsy-turvy league. They were very unfortunate against Antrim not to come out of Corrigan Park with anything in that game. They then just come up short against Louth, and in the last game, which was really a dead rubber game, they lost away to Wexford. So, I mean, wasn't good signs coming into the game. You look at the flip side of that in Mayo, who have introduced a couple of new players, a couple of retirees throughout the league. Really, in most games in the league, Mayo were in charge, scoring freely. And again here, to kick 26 scores, to keep on turning over the scoreboard the way that they did, the ruthlessness that they did. We all expected a Mayo victory, but to see them the way that they were, they're maybe up to the gear coming into the championship as well. And I said this to you 2 weeks ago, I can't see anybody beating them out west. They're going to be the strongest team there. The big thing is how Mayo adapted to the players that have left, that bit of experience. They have a couple of injury concerns. Let's not kid ourselves. Aidan O'Shea's been in and out with injuries in the last while. Obviously, the issue with Killian O'Connor is ongoing. But to see some of the young lads step up to the plate, Matthew Ryan, I'm very, very impressed with in around the middle. So, look, I see them making an All-Ireland semi-final. Job done for them. The ruthlessness is something that Roscommon and Galway will be very much aware of. Potential banana skin coming into the game. Job done, job dealt with, on to the next one.
Yeah, definitely. And very impressive start from Mayo, but I just don't really see what Wicklow get from that game. But we will just have to wait and see what the GAA do with it for maybe the couple of years ahead. And in the Munster Championship, you had Limerick against Waterford. Limerick coming out winners here, 4-18 to Waterford's 12 points. And Limerick are in good enough form, Kev.
Yeah, good team, good big physical team. You know, when you're turning over 4-18, you know, okay, they're a decent Division 3 side now. I was maybe expecting them to make. They were very unlucky in the league this year not to make the top two. And Derry and Offaly made that, you know, unfortunately for them. But you know, they're a good big physical team. They're only up from 4 a year, remember? They only come up this year. So, you know, when you're scoring 4-18, and they've scored heavily in the league as well up to this point. So, you know, give them credit where it's due. They're 2 years into a project at the minute. As I say, they're a big physical team. They're going to be a handful now, you know, in a Munster semi-final. So, you know, again, we temper it with the fact that they were probably playing, possibly, no disrespect to them, the worst team in the country in Waterford at the minute. They played in the National League. So, you know, Waterford scored 12 points, but really it was always a one-sided game. And you know, again, a bit like Mayo, job done for Limerick. And they will have aspirations of maybe giving the semi-final a decent shot and then seeing what they can do next year in the league.
Yeah, definitely. In the next game, you had Kerry 3-22, Clare 1-11, and Kerry coasting home to victory in this one, Kev. But in fairness, we did expect a better effort from Colin Cullen's men.
Yeah. So from one side, very impressive. The other side, a bit of a disappointment, and that's I suppose we say tongue in cheek, given the fact that we've been complimenting Clare all league, and you know they are punching above their weight a wee bit. You know, they have the likes of Tuberty and Owen Cleary up front, who are good natural scorers, but Kerry's class shone through. Again, last week, the week before, I picked him as my man of the week. I think that Sean O'Shea is highly influential to bringing things into Kerry. You know, the ruthlessness that he took the goal at a vital time in the game for them. You know, again, I would have to say Kerry might be a wee bit disappointed in what they conceded. But again, it's job done for them. It's on to the next game where they slipped up last year. So, you know, Kerry, look, their trajectory up front is really, really good. They're scoring heavily. They're going to be very hard to stop up there. You know, again, I'll say this. I've said it many, many times over. If Kerry can stop other teams maybe turn over the scoreboard as frequently as they are, then, you know, they're going to go places, and that's their big challenge is, you know, can they defend as well as they attack? And that answer has not been in the affirmative this last couple of weeks.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be interesting to see how Kerry are fixed down the line. Can they get similar score lines like that for the rest of the year? And in the Leinster Championship, the championship we all love and adore, we've Offaly against Louth in the first game of the weekend. Offaly coming out winners in this game, 3-19 to Louth, 19 points. Mickey Hart's Louth couldn't cause an upset, Kev?
So very nearly did. Listen to this game in RTE. It was a real cliffhanger. You know, Offaly were sort of, I suppose they were under a wee bit of pressure, given that Shane Lowry and his £1 million was in the stands, you know. So they came out and they, fair play to them, you know, after the setback they had in Croke Park, you know, 6-7 days beforehand. They started well. They were in the ascendancy most of the game. But really, towards the end of the game, Louth maybe should have took this game, maybe should have snatched it from them. Possibly a draw, and in pre-COVID days, you know, come back next weekend to do it all again would have been the best result. But, you know, Offaly really started the extra time in the ascendancy, really went ahead then. And, you know, that's, you know, them first 5-7 minutes of extra time, you know, they regrouped, and fair play to John Mahon, he got them sorted out. And again, it's the old hands, the Bernard Allens, the McNamees of this world that are really shining through for them. And that experience is vital for them. So, you know, it's a win for Offaly. They're going in the right trajectory at the minute, which is good to see. For Louth, it'll be a bit of disappointment, but I suppose for them, job was done the week before. They're up a league, and, you know, I'm quite excited by that project, Mickey Hodgson, as I said to you off camera. There's a lot of young fellas involved there. So, you know, They were competitive in their first year. He only had 4 or 5 weeks to work with him. Imagine him having 7, 8, 9 weeks before they go into a league campaign next year. So, that's one for all of us to watch. But hopefully onwards and upwards for them. And let's see if they can step up to the mark now against one of the bigger sides.
Yeah, definitely. And a special shout out to Niall McNamee. He scored 1-5 at the weekend. He was very influential, and he's playing for so long, Kev. So a word on Niall McNamee and the influence on Offaly football.
I don't think there's many words that we can use that people haven't already used. Look, there's two things to Niall McNamee. It's not only what's happened to him off the pitch that he's been so open and honest about. That shows the strength of character for him to come back into the squad, but his longevity over that period of time, and also in terms of within that longevity, his consistency. He hits frees, but he's very much a score getter from play as well. There's hardly a week goes by when you don't watch Offaly football over the last 15 years, and Niall McNamee hasn't bagged a goal. So that's what I like about this Offaly team. Okay, it wasn't so evident on Croke Park, but the more mature players, those that have been on the road a wee bit longer, up front are, they're really showing the leadership that maybe, I questioned the other week from the likes of David Clifford and that to show at a younger age. McNamee's been doing that for 10, 15 years now. So, hats off to a guy like that who mightn't get the credit because he's been playing down to Division 2, 3, 4 over the last number of years.
Yeah, definitely. And a massive shout out to him. And on the Offaly footballers go into the championship, and in the next game you'd Wicklow 14 points, Wexford 2-11, and Shane Roach got Wexford's first win in 7 years. Kevin, it's a mad stat to believe.
Funny, I was chatting to Matty Ford with yourself last week, and I predicted it, and I think Matty Ford was looking at me, bring me to a mental asylum there in the south side of Dublin at one stage when I predicted it. Look, they had a confidence boost and win the week before going in against Sligo. Obviously, the loss to Waterford and Carlow hadn't helped them. And the one thing about Wicklow, we talked to John McGrath about this a couple of times, is Shawnee Furlan's such a big player for them. If you maybe reduce Shawnee's influence in the game, then you're possibly in with a shout. And to go there and get that victory for them is awe-inspiring. It's confidence. But it's only confidence for the league next year because of this championship that we have. They're getting against Dublin now. And look, if any game's going to show us the golfing class, it's going to be this game. But credit to Shane Roach where it's due. It mustn't have been easy 4, 5, 6 weeks into the league. Them defeats and then coming in against Sligo. So 2 wins in a row, bit of a bounce. Hopefully gets them back maybe October, November, December time and gets them going for a push to get out of Division 4 again next year. Yeah,
and I suppose, Kev, as well, we were talking off air about maybe Shane Roach and his impact on Wexford football. But he said after the game he's going to plan accordingly for the challenge that Dublin bring next weekend. And we all are talking about this tiered competition and trying to sort out the GA at the minute. But plan accordingly for the best team to ever play the game. Wexford are struggling as is, Kev. So what in the name of God do the Wexford footballers do this weekend?
Look, if you went to Albert Einstein 50 years ago and asked him how to beat the Dubs, I don't think he could be able to give you a formula to do it, let's be honest. Look, I don't know what he does, and we'll come to talk about this with teams maybe who are playing in Ulster this weekend. Look, unfortunately for Wexford, for Shane, look, they can go into it with a bit of positivity. They've 2 wins in the bounce, bit of confidence, but, against maybe 90% of the other teams in Leinster, you could maybe think on the off chance you will get a victory, but not against this Dublin team. They're just a juggernaut. They're an absolute juggernaut. Look, I'm the biggest Kerry fan you've ever got. They reached, 9 All-Ireland finals in 10, 11 years. This Dublin team will surpass that. They're the best we've ever seen. It's very difficult to plan for them. In fact, forget about Albert Einstein. I'd love to see what Peter Keane and James Horan and maybe Declan Boner or Fergal Logan's planning for this Dublin team, because that would be a lovely blueprint to look at and maybe pick holes in them. I don't see much holes in this Dublin team. I see them getting stronger this year. They've got new additions. I see them getting stronger next year again. So, as I say, Shane needs to just, as a manager, focus on the positives. Maybe go down, look at the Wexford minors this year, look at their under-20s and see if he can pick 1 or 2 players, medium for Wexford next year. get out of Division 4.
Yeah, definitely. Without a shadow of a doubt. And the next game, you had Carlow 2-13, Longford 25 points, and Longford have got another win, and it goes to show they weren't probably taking the league overly serious, Kev.
Yeah, 40 Davis, a couple of disappointing results in the league, and going down there and getting that victory is major. When you score not 25 any day of the week, it poses two questions. One, your forward line's working properly on that day, or two, the Carlow defence is a wee bit leaky. I'm sure Parks maybe a wee bit concerned he conceded 2 goals, but look, he came out with a victory. It didn't look good for them after the first game of the league against Derry. I was quite critical against them, the way they played that day. But, we have to assess how good Derry were within that league. Against Fermanagh and Cavan, they definitely put up very, very competitive performances. So, look, they're on a 2-game winning streak now, and, as I say, they go into the next match. Okay, it's a jump up, so... he'll be just happy with the not 25, but he will be concerned about conceding 2 goals, especially getting against what we would call more superior opposition.
Yeah, 100%. And it'll be interesting to see where Longford can go this year in the Leinster Championship, because they definitely have a lot of exciting forwards. And into the Ulster Championship on Sunday, you were down 112, Donegal 225, and not a great game of football, but Declan Bunner's got over the line in his first game in the Ulster Championship this year, Kev.
Yeah, I was listening to this game live on BBC Radio Ulster, and Brendan Devaney was saying nothing more than 8 to 10 point victory would do for Donegal in terms of the supporters and the pressure on Declan Bunner. Look, there's 2 things to this game, and I hope Donegal supporters aren't upset at me, and I hope Down supporters aren't upset at me. Donegal at times were very, very good, very, very fluent, had some great individual performances, but on the other hand, we have to assess that against how rotten Down were. By God, they were horrible. In so many ways. The tactics were so wrong. I think Donegal went 4 or 5 points up. Down looked to be starting defensive. How can you start 7 or 8 minutes in the Ulster Championship game and be 4 or 5 points down? The class in Donegal shown through. Ryan McHugh at times was just totally unplayable going forward. Patrick McGourty showed glimpses of class. Michael Langland kicked a couple of beautiful points. Obviously, the big issue coming out of the game is the injury to Michael Murphy. And maybe taking that precaution. There was maybe some suggestions on BBC that they shouldn't have played Michael Murphy. Again, I would temper that with Declan Bonner and this team are under pressure to deliver this year after what happened last year. So, you can see it from Declan's selfish point of view. Again, Patton's kickouts are a major element to the game. Gives him a great platform going forward. The guys coming on, Jamie Brennan, the goal that he gets is a wonder strike. I suppose the only bad thing I'm going to say, and this is to not compliment myself, is I said last week or the week before the player I was looking most forward to see was Owen Ban Gallagher, and he was really, really poor last weekend. He got the run around from Barry O'Hagan. I think Barry O'Hagan scored 6 or 7 points. So Owen Ban would be a bit of concern about his form. He's maybe in the year 2, 3, 4 with Donegal, and he's a big, big player for them. For Down, on the other hand, where do we start? The goalkeeper can't kick the ball out properly. They had 1 kick out, which was right underneath the stand the whole time. They won about 2% of their kickouts. Going forward, they were just over-reliant on Barry O'Hagan. I thought, the simple factor was that we played Darren O'Hagan, their best man marker, their captain, wonderful footballer. I thought they play him and Patrick McGourty. They didn't. Started Jared Collins and him. I had Jared at college, a great, great lad, very well motivated, but he's never a corner back. He's either a full back or maybe a centre back, So I just thought Tally got the matchups wrong. I thought that Down generally showed no fight, no hunger, no pride the way that Down is, bar Barry O'Hagan masquerading in the first half. If it hadn't been for him, it would have been a cricket score in the first half. When you look at them stats of the final score being Donegal kicked 223, 220...
225.
225, 27 scores, in an Ulster Championship game. I mean, 2 years ago, if you had said that to somebody, they'd be saying that some are mad, Down's defence was non-existent. So Look, lots of other things to question about Down. Okay, they stayed in Division 2 this year, which is a big plus for them. They brought Kevin McGourty on after 58 minutes. Why bring Kevin McGourty on after 58 minutes? He's 32, 33. He's not going to influence the game then. The game was well and truly dead by then. If you want Kevin McGourty to influence the game, you put him on after 22 minutes. You make a statement and say, we're not up to it, boys. Take somebody off. Put somebody experienced like McGourty on. They've done that after 58 minutes. Why? Why did they do that? It wasn't going to change the game. Absolutely senseless. So, I don't know where Down go from here. I'm really honest. I don't know where they go from here. I don't think Paddy has a future with Down, but that's not up for me to decide. That's up for Down people to decide. The big issue is after that, who do they go for? John McEntee probably was an obvious choice last time around. An Armagh man taken Down. I suppose a Down man's taken Armagh before in Paddy O'Rourke. So I don't know. I don't know where they go. I don't really see any in-house candidates. The only people that I would see for the Down job at the minute would be a combination of Mickey Moore and Conor Gilligan and Conor Lavery coming together. Now, the three of them work together for Kilcoo. I don't know if Mickey has maybe had his time in inter-county management. He's just happy where he is. But I certainly think that he could bring a lot there. Conleith could bring a lot in terms of how good a footballer and how good a thinker he was. And certainly Conor knowing the guys at underage level. So I think that is possibly the future for Down at the minute. But they're going to have to do something, John. They really are. Because what we seen last week is Down football is so much pride, and that was a performance without pride, without direction, without any sort of, bite and thrust. And, it doesn't help Donegal either that they came through it so easily.
Yeah. And realistically, I don't think there's any winners from that game. I know Donegal did get the win, but realistically, it didn't do them any good, and it definitely didn't do Paddy Talley's men any good on Warden Street. As you were saying, Paddy Talley's name could be finito with Down in a couple of days, who knows. So we will look forward to this weekend's games. Ulster Championship, once again, on Saturday night, you've Monaghan against Fermanagh, and on Sunday, you've Armagh against Antrim. So the first game, Monaghan against Fermanagh, big 50-50 that one, Kev.
Yeah, so if we look at what's happened thus far, you would probably be looking at Monaghan all day long in this game. But again, this is the Ulster Championship. This is a local derby. Ricey's going to have his Fermanagh guys up for it. But I personally just think that Monaghan have too much class. I am a wee bit impressed with Monaghan this year. We talked about Conor McManus a couple of times, but Stephen O'Hanlon stepping up to the mark. Obviously, Ryan McInnesby's been about for a few years. You've got the two Q's, Kieran Q stepping up to the mark. We've got Jack McLaren back swinging that foot of his, which is great to see. And obviously Conor McCarthy then stepping up. So Monaghan going forward are really, really potent at the minute. And I doubt that Fermanagh have the defence to really give them a game. Obviously Sean Quigley's going to be a handful for whoever's marking him, but realistically, for me, it's Monaghan all day long in this game. I do think it's a Monaghan Armagh semi-final, but we'll come on to talk about the Armagh Antrim game anyway.
Yeah, 100%, and that's an intriguing battle, Monaghan against Fermanagh. One we're looking forward to. And next game, you have Armagh against Antrim. No better man to ask, former Antrim great Kevin McGourty.
Yeah, I suppose I'm glad with the sort of narrative that is coming out this week in the papers that Antrim have a free hit at this game, which is great to see because we want to see what the free hit is. So as Ian and Stephen and Sean, are they going to then say to the team, look, what we'll do is against McGeeney's team is, who have been free scoring in this championship, let's be under no illusions. Armagh have been quite impressive going forward, very competitive in all three games in their own section of the league, and then obviously, they were much the better team against Roscommon. So, when you look at Armagh coming into this game from an Antrim perspective, am I going to box clever and try to go into defence and try and bottle them up a bit and try and make it competitive for 25, 30 minutes, similar to what Antrim did last year against Cavan? Or else am I going to go out and play against them, all out attack? I think it would be naive if the lads, when you get a free hit, because Antrim's job's done for this year. Let's be honest, John. They've got out of Division 4 after 4 or 5 years of trying. So, look, for me, it's go out, play them 15 on 15, be in the game for 20, 25 minutes, take the game as a real good competitive game, a real learning curve for younger lads in the squad, building towards next year. I just think Armagh have far too much competitive games under their belt and far too much ability both at the back and up front for Antrim to trouble them. Look, Oran Eastwood has been free scoring all league. Oran's a lovely wee player, but I don't know if Oran's an inter-county footballer at the level of Division 2 or 3. He's small, he's dainty. He's going to be up against someone like James Morgan. Very little players get any change out of James Morgan, at club level or inter-county level. Ryan Murray, the same. You got people in there like Greg McCabe who are good players that can bottle them up. When we then look on the flip side of that, have Antrim the players to hold, the Oisin and Rian O'Neills, the Rory Grugans, the Aidan Fuckers of this world, the Jamar Halls. I don't think they have, And then you look at the middle sector of the field, you Charlie Og if he's fit, and you've also Ross McQuillan in there, the athleticism of them guys. Look, I just think Armagh have too many aces for Antrim this weekend. And what I want to see from Antrim is a good performance. I want to see them competitive for 40 minutes, 50 minutes of this game against the Division 1 team. I want to see bite. I want to see a few hits come in. But ultimately, that will show me progression in where Antrim were last year, where they were during the league, and again, coming up now, building towards Division 3 next year. But I just think Armagh hold too many of the aces going forward.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's probably maybe a bridge too far for Antrim, but I think if Armagh are to really kind of push on and really see this kind of progression under the helm of Kieran McGourty and the start on it really should be a 7 or 8 point win maybe for Armagh, but we will wait and see. And in the Connacht Championship next game, you've Roscommon against Galway, so big 50-50 game there again, Kev, because both teams really was up and down the league.
This is the game of the weekend. Let's be under no illusions. Two very evenly matched teams. Okay, Galway come out, showed a great response after being hammered by Kerry to beat them down in Salt Hill. This is a totally different kettle of fish in terms of the championship. Pritchard and Anthony Cunningham have had maybe 2 or 3 weeks to work with this. They know what's at stake here as a Connacht final. Look, Galway's defence is a wee bit unsure for me. I've said a couple of times about their goalkeeper. I'm not sure in terms of the Murtas and the Smiths up front. Roscommon will score. They will score quite heavily. I think this game is more about Roscommon at the back, how they hold Comer and Shane Walsh. This will not be won in the middle third. This will be won by the tighter of the two defences, if that makes sense to people. Galway can't be giving away frees. Dermot Murray and these boys will just score for fun from them, as will Shane Walsh and Comer. So, that will be a big thing. It's all about the defence, which either defence comes out on top. Look, I'm going to put my neck in the line. I'm going to say Roscommon for this. That may be controversial to people, but look, I just think Roscommon have a wee bit of a better defence. Galway's defence is causing me serious concerns at the minute. I don't think they've got it right. I don't think the goalkeeper's got it right. Their kickouts are very poor. The only thing I'd say to you is that Galway are probably coming in the back of this with quite a decent performance against Monaghan, whereas Roscommon, they get slapped about a wee bit up in the athletic grounds by Armagh. So maybe, that 2 weeks, it's just give them time to readjust and rethink and maybe get that in. But look, any team that Pritchard or Anthony Cunningham's involved in, we've seen they're going to be aggressive, they're going to be competitive, and if Roscommon bring a decent state of mind to this game, I just see them having that better defence to win this game.
Yeah, 100%. And one game we are really, really looking forward to this weekend. And in the Leinster Championship, you've Laois against Westmeath to kickstart the weekend. And I think, was it Gary Reynolds was saying last week, there's probably not a kick of a ball between a lot of these teams, and that's another 50-50 game, Kev.
Okay, knocking the line straight away, I'm going to say Westmeath. I was really impressed with them in a couple of league games. They were not only their ability, maybe with not having the resources of other teams, but also, they played Mayo. They weren't in the game at the start. Mayo really, overran them. And the next thing is they come back out of nowhere. They showed great spirit. The one sort of flunk result for them in the league was the down result, where, they didn't really turn up that day, but they were very competitive against me, very competitive against Mayo. They have a couple of lovely footballers. John Hassan will have a big say in this game. And Laois are really on a downward trajectory at the minute. I think motivation must be very low there after the league campaign that they have. They've gone now to Division 3, which is not good for them. For a county that proud. Look, they've good players, but for me, Westmeath, they're just a wee bit more competitive and have that wee bit more class at the minute, and maybe have that wee bit more belief. So I'm going to go for Westmeath in this one.
Yeah. Next game, you've Meath against Longford, and an intriguing battle. And can Longford potentially cause an upset, Kev?
If they get their defence sorted out, that would be the only possibility. Look, I think Meath have stepped it up a wee bit this year under Andy McEntee. Yes, they went down a league, but again, we're very competitive in 2 this year. In the first league game, showed great guts to come back against Westmeath. Donald Keoghan's still playing in there. They've unearthed a few forwards that can score. I can't see anything other than a Meath victory, to be honest with you. Yes, Longford scored not 25, but let's put that in context. No disrespect, that's maybe against the poor enough Cardo defence. I would expect Meath to be much more economical at the back, much more tighter at the back. And Meath are always a big physical team. Meath standards this year under Andy McEntee for progression would be at least a Leinster semi-final. And they'll know that coming into the match, and there'll be a bit of pressure on them. So, for me, I think that, they'll progress through this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And in the next game, you've Wexford against Dublin. And how many points will Wexford win this one by, Kev?
Yes, I'd love to see Paddy Powers cooping right now on what the handicap is in this. Look, let's not do any injustice to teams who are competing here. Look, I think the least we'll say about this is a mismatch. It's the way the championship is folded this year. This is going to be a Dublin victory. Dublin possibly, and I hope this isn't derogatory to Wexford people or to Shane Roach, Dublin will possibly play a weakened team this weekend and still come out with a handsome victory. But, it does no favours to either side this game, if I'm honest with
you. Yeah, 100%. Not much more to be said, unfortunately. And in the next game, you've Kildare against Offaly. Again, probably referring to the other games, Meath, Longford, and Laois, Westmeath. Another 50-50 game, but realistically, neither team have a chance of winning Leinster. But then again, we'll preview it anyway, Kev.
Yeah, no, look, on the one hand, Offaly are coming in. This is their 3rd game in 3 weeks. That can have a toll on you, obviously, with injuries and with the older lads, the Allens, the McNamees, mightn't be great for the bodies. But when you're under a guy like John Mahoney's going to have you very fit, that's for sure. The momentum's going to be great for them coming out, on the right side of that result last weekend. I suppose the only other negative, the negative, that's the positive. The negative is maybe just a toll on the bodies of another intense 70 minutes of inter-county football. For Jack O'Connor, look, he's had a couple of weeks to reflect on what has been a decent league at the end of it. Didn't start too well. Started well down in Cork. Then, look, got a wee bit hairy in there against Clare when they lost at home. But, they put Laois to the sword, and then they eventually got up back into Division 1. So, mission accomplished sort of for Jack O'Connor this year, back up into Division 1. He'll be looking, as I say, a bit like Meath and Andy McEntee to a Leinster semi-final. They have a lot of class in there. The 21s from maybe 2-3 years ago, time for them to step up and shine. I expect this to be a very competitive game for 60-65 minutes, but possibly Kildare just to come through in the end.
Yeah, 100%. And to wrap it all up, Kev, who would be your player to watch this weekend and the bet of the weekend?
Player to watch this weekend, Rian O'Neill from Armagh. Not trying to be Ulster-centric about this, but over the last number of weeks, I've been listening to Armagh matches on the radio, and the common denominator about how good Armagh have been playing or who is central to Armagh's game has been Rian O'Neill. His brother Oisín's a terrific player as well. They didn't lick it off the grass. Their uncle's obviously Oisín. So, look, Rian seems to be the common forward at the minute, maybe one of the top 5 or 6 forwards in the country easily at the minute. So, look, he's getting into the heart of championship, and if Antrim are do any chance, they've got to put a lot of heat in him. So let's see how he deals with the heat in the Ulster Championship this week. I know he's probably marked a lot better caliber players in terms of the league over the last 3, 4, 5 weeks. So he'll be central to how Armagh do against Antrim, and let's see what his return is from play. He'll be my player to watch.
And your bet of the weekend or tip of the weekend?
Even though I've just tipped Kildare, if there's one match to look at, it's probably maybe Offaly, possibly having a chance. When we look at most of the other games, you're looking at pretty one-sided games, bar the Roscommon Galway game, which is the flip of a coin. So for a betting man, of which I'm not, please gamble responsibly. Offaly would probably be just slight underdogs against Kildare, so that could be the upset, as we put it.
Upset. Well, it could be an awfully good result for Shane Lowry's bank account if they do get a win this weekend. Well, Kev, thanks a million for joining me this week. And of course, this podcast is sponsored by orcaretro.com. Use my promo code JMACPodcast to get 15% off the website. And as you can see, Kev's sporting a lovely Antrim jersey in the background. If you have any interest, use my promo code to get 15% off. Kev, it's always a pleasure, my man.
Cheers, John. Thanks.
Cheers, sir.